had no expectations. I've never done something like this before. So I came thinking, you know, we're going to get down and dirty. I'm cool with that. And we were treated like queens and kings. And I was not expecting that. It's lovely. Everyone here is incredibly nice. You can see, you know, we were talking downstairs earlier. You know, when Christian walks in the door, does everybody kind of stand at attention? And you can see that it's not necessarily like I'm afraid of you. It's like, you know, I want to work for this man. I want to work harder because I feel taken care of here. I feel the passion that he has. So listening to him, you kind of get sucked into how passionate he's about his cigars and his process. You know, his dad started the company, but he's trying to take it in directions that are progressive and move things forward. And I think there's something to be said about that. You know, you can't it's revere tradition, embrace progress. So I think he does that really well.
We're here, walk all the way back here. Everything has to be counted, and these guys over the years, they begin to know how many plants per acre, and they do all the measurements and everything. So tobacco starts here. These are the seed beds. The seed beds are the most important part of the process. The tobacco grows right from the beginning. If the seed bed is not right and the small plants aren't right from the very beginning, you're not going to have a good crop. So this is done on purpose for you guys to see, and we'll see some tobacco being spread today. Pues están poniendo semilleros ya, ¿verdad? Vamos a poder ver ahorita. You'll see how it gets spread. You know, this is what the seeds look like. So what they'll do is when they start spreading the seed, you put the seed in a can with a bunch of ashes. The ashes, of course, are white. The dirt is all going to be nice and dark, so when you spray with the ash, you see exactly what you sprayed. And they'll take out the best of that group. They come in they really come in with like a toothpick or a little wire. And the ladies, they work, and we usually use women because they have a lot more detail. Guys don't have that kind of detail. So, and they'll take all the little plants out and just leave one per tray. When the plants are growing, they'll mow them on top because they want to make sure that they're all at the same level, and you want to make sure that you have a real thick stem. They have a lot more nutrients, and they've been fertilized a lot more, so they're going to grow at a much faster pace. Here, the limited, just imagine how many nutrients are in that little amount of soil. Limited. Plus, what other thing that happens is, if you see this hair on the plant, the tobacco plant actually absorbs nutrition from there as well. The irrigation drip system, we consume a lot less water than normal. And everything you'll see a lot of green signs everywhere. That's from Bayer. Bayer certified the farm. We have zero impact on the environment. Everything we do is very, very clean, very hygienic. And we do the same thing at the factory as well. Our product is 99% hygienic. I can't get the factory certified by Bayer because Bayer is not going to support a tobacco company. The farm they do because they just call it a farm. Yeah, settle down there, Rupert. There you go. So anyway, so you'll see things a little different. It's pretty similar as everywhere else. Just my father he turns 86 today. Today's his birthday. He's just one of these. Just doesn't care, man. The old guy just doesn't care. He's allergic to profit. He's allergic to money. He just wants the stuff to be beautiful. So you'll see everything. He goes completely overboard. If you go to a tobacco field, you see how everything's perfectly aligned. It's beautiful. You know, we were just here, and we probably have some recordings. We'll probably show some of that as well. How they do the planting, which is a real beautiful. I could sit there for hours. Actually, we did sit here for like an hour every day, every morning, and just watch it happen. You know, because I like the care that he puts into it. Nice. Now you can pull it out. When they're in here without tobacco plants, they're competing for sunlight. So they do have some sort of thinking mechanism, or nature does it, which is amazing. You know, who intelligence system there? I don't know what it is.
Survival.
Right.
It helped me when I first started at the vintage. I've been there for almost 2.5 years, and a lot of it it's relatable, right? So with wine, for example, it's terroir driven. Same thing with tobacco. I mean, being in Honduras and growing Corojo and Habano is going to taste different than Corojo and Habano in Dominican Republic, you know? So for me, it's relatable to understand flavor profiles and understand blends and stuff like that. You know, blending my own cigar was terrifying because I've never done it before, and I'm like, you know, 2 years into it, I'm still new. There's so much to learn. So I'm smelling every leaf possible just to understand at least just like how they smell individually, and then possibly put them together to make something. You know, I don't know if it's any good, but I hope so.
Here for about 45 days. This was climate controlled. It's called the Larisa. Is a system that the Cubans worked on for many years in the 90s, and it was picked up over here. If you notice that the whole barn is insulated with foam, because what you want to do is you want to make sure you dry the tobacco. You want the green gone, you want the chlorophyll gone, and you want to dry the leaf. When you do candela, the green stuff, what you do is you put the grills here at about 120 degrees. And what that does is the leaf dries, but the chlorophyll stays inside the leaf. And that's what makes candela taste so grassy and so green. I don't like it.
Isn't there a steaming process to make it into a wrapper?
No, just heat.
No, here, but once you apply it in the, you could apply it just at
Ready to
from
roll,
here?
man.
Oh,
And my dad's biggest business in the 60s and 70s was candela for Coragua, which was Bearing, you know, the Bearing cigars. What made that so good is that 48 hours here is dry, you pack the tobacco, you ship it and you sell it. This stuff here takes 18 months, man. It takes forever. Because it's got to sit here for 45 days, then it goes into fermentation. You know, fermentation could be anywhere from 3 months to 18 months, depending on what type of tobacco. Then you have to go to a sorting process. You have to do all these things. So it takes you 1.5 or 2 years to finally sell the tobacco.
and how do you take the ammonia?
The ammonia comes out on its own. You do in fermentation, you feel it. So that's one thing that's changed a lot over the years as well. All right, so in the 1990s, all cigars the cigar industry was dominated by Dominican cigars. And there's a lot of Connecticut wrappers, and you know, when they want to go wild and crazy, they had Ecuadorian Sumatra, which is a darker color, but the cigar really wasn't a full body cigar. That's what made the Camacho Corojo so interesting and the Corojo seed so interesting at the time, because people didn't understand it. So in 2000, we started bringing customers down. 2001, we started bringing customers down here to explain it, because Camacho came out, it was a huge hit because there was nothing else like it at the time. But people didn't understand the Corojo seed. You know, back to what you asked me a little earlier, and that's when I got really upset. I was much younger, probably I should have acted a little smarter. Got really upset with Cigar Aficionado because they didn't want to cover the story of Corojo. Because this seed that my father had revived. Cuba abandoned that seed in 1987 because it picks up all the mold. It picks up 1 acre, only gives about 1,200 pounds. Criollo 98 gives you 2,200 pounds, so it's almost double. Corojo gives you 25-30% wrapper, when the Criollo 98 will give you 50 or 60% wrapper. So of course, business-wise, Criollo 98 is a much smarter plant, much better plant. It's genetically designed. It's a great plant. So you go to a different country where you have different varieties, they don't grow those anymore. They grow the Criollo 98. And oftentimes they trick you. They call it the original variety, but it's not. So anyway, so we started bringing customers down here because I had to explain it to them one by one. And back then, marketing-wise, for every dollar spent, we're getting $40 back. So that made a huge explosion. So a lot of other people say, oh my God, so we're sitting on all these inventories now of tobacco that's not as strong as Corojo or any of these other. Havana 2000, people were just experimenting with it. So what a lot of companies started doing was not fermenting tobacco all the way. So they're fermenting tobacco to 60%. So when they're going through the fermentation process and you smell the ammonia, they would leave it like that, right? And that's one thing that eventually changed the business, and it became part of our taste. And people like it, don't like it, but if you notice, you know, I think more and more, I mean, not in an epidemic kind of way, but if you notice more and more, Connecticut cigars are slowly beginning to sell less at a smaller rate. You know, it's still the most popular wrapper out there, but people your age, they don't want to smoke a Connecticut cigar. They want to go into something that has more body from the beginning. You know, that's one big thing that changed over the years.
Like I said, I was terrified, but it was really cool once I got through it. And again, I smelled every single individual one just to get, you know, in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I'm smoking a cigar, what do I want out of it? And then I put it together. You know, I got a little like deep chocolate with a little bit of like a baking spice cinnamon out of this one. Got some funk out of Sumatra because I love Sumatras. And then I was like, you know, it's really soft. It started off binder-wise, I mean, filler-wise, it started off really soft. So I'm like, okay, let's go with San Andreas binder. Let's bring some kind of like full pepperiness to it. Let's round that out, and then let's finish it off with Habano. So that was kind of my thought process. But I'm just, you know, again, I'm not a roller, I'm not a blender or anything by any means for cigars, but I'm like, you know, it's cool to try to like figure out what makes sense.
Yeah, what tobacco, there's a process where the ammonia starts coming out, and there's a lot of body to it, but you get all these different kinds of smells, and that's where I get all my ideas. We'll go see that now after this. So that's where I get all my ideas for blends when I start getting those smells. I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's just the way I grew up in the business. But I just start smelling and I start imagining what I think the blend's gonna look, or the blend's gonna taste like, what the cigar's gonna look like. Think of it as you're buying meat, or you're walking by a restaurant and you smell something burning. Oh shit, you know what? I'm gonna buy some steak tonight, and I think that has pepper and has that, you know. So you start giving up all these ideas, right? So this is what I want to do. This is what we call I call it the acid test. Not because it's acid, just because it's the only way to see what we're doing. So here we have. All right, so it tells you the farm, tells you when this tobacco was sprung up here, right? This is Habano 2 as a seed my dad's working on, right? And then this is the a Corona. All right, so this is. We got a Bulgarian customer, man. So now we do that. Now it's because it's a lot like this, a lot less offensive. Because the guy was so polite. All of a sudden, the guy crossed. He goes, "Hey, fuck you!" I go, "Oh my god, I love it." That's it, man. That's gonna be our thing. Let me grab 2 of the uglier leaves.
That's for a wrapper, no? It's very elastic.
Yeah, man. Good catch. It has good elasticity. The Corona means crown. Is the top part of the tobacco plant. So if you manage the tobacco plant like this, and then the flower coming up in the middle, it looks like a crown. So this is the leaf that takes up all the
Everything.
it takes up all. So yeah, you do the primings from the bottom up, right? So when you're taking the primings, you take the leaves from the bottom. All the nutrients just keep going up, and the Corona is the last one you take out. It stays out there the longest. The sun punishes the most. The Eiroa Dark I get from these, but we don't get that many of these leaves. That's why I can't make that many of those cigars, which is frustrating, you know. But I wish I could make more, but you know, I don't mind. I take my time in doing it, and it's no big deal. I'm gonna light it like normal. Now what you're gonna taste is a little bit of the rawness. Because I always come here with him, right? So he knows how to roll with his right hand. So I learned how to do it with my left hand. So my left-handed cigars come out a lot better than the right-handed ones. Oh, shit, as I spoke.
Start talking.
On you now. All right. That means the Chevy's gonna break down for sure now.
So we're gonna go in the Toyota on the way home.
Yeah, the way over here, I go, this, the Toyota killer, Chevy's awesome, never broken down once. By the way, after touching these cigars, do not touch your face, your eyes, because you're gonna see stars. So yeah, you can light the cigars up. So I separate a little bit because the wrapper is about 70% of the flavor. At that point, over the years, we learn to anticipate what the cigar is going to taste like eventually, what the tobacco is going to taste like eventually. You're trying to see what kind of burn it is. If it burns, of course, it's important. And oftentimes, even when the tobacco is in fermentation, you start lighting up the cigars like that, and then you notice if it creates a little bubble around the ring. If it creates a little bubble around the ring, obviously that you need more time for that leaf. Here, this is temperature control. By having the temperature control, the moisture and everything, we control the environment. Because what happens is, you'll feel now in Honduras, it was, not that it was chilly, I mean chilly for us, but the temperature was, I don't know, maybe 70 or 68 this morning. In the middle of the day, it's gonna get up to 80 something. And what that does is, the process accelerates during the day, the drying process, the curing process, but at nighttime, it stops. But when you put the temperature control, the process continues on the whole time. And once the process continues on the whole time, you're able to instead of waiting 45 days, maybe you can turn the barn in 32, 33 days. Because we were just talking in the car with the other guys, that what limits us as far as the farm is the tobacco barns. Because you can only fit about an acre and a half per barn. So if you're growing 100 acres, you need 100 barns. So you got to stage it. And you got to make sure, because it's easier to move the tobacco from here to fermentation than to tell the tobacco to stop growing in the field, which you can't do.
So on the rotation, do you grow like a vegetable or something?
Corn. And we did, instead of corn, or we'll do sorghum, because sometimes it depends what the economy is like locally. If you grow corn, people start breaking in and start stealing your corn. And when they harvest your corn, it's stealing from the soil. And he hates it. And it's funny, he gets so angry because he makes money on corn sometimes, because he doesn't want to get tempted to like growing corn, because he's a tobacco guy, man. He doesn't care about anything else. It's just a really good mentality, man. I like it. I admire that about him. You know, I hope I don't know. I hope I become like that, and I hope I don't become like that. I don't know what to tell you.
Somewhere in between?
Yeah, I'm conflicted, man. All right.
I'm just starting to get to the lead.
So these are different experiments that my dad's doing all the time. You know, for many, many years, I've been like, dude, we need corojo, man. We need 2-3 varieties, but he just likes to grow everything. He's growing broadleaf now. He's growing Kentucky. He's growing all kinds of stuff. He just gets his ideas. If you notice this one, he's curing that with a whole stock at the time.
Yeah.
Slow
down.
My name is Larisa Janacek. I work at the Vintage Whiskey and Cigar Lounge in Charlotte, and I am a senior director and managing partner, basically running the day-to-day operations.
All right, so they put the plants here, and one by one they drop them. This is a revolver, and there's a chute that goes all the way down. And there's a part there that'll drill the hole, then the plant will drop in, and it's a line. Then each one is being followed by somebody that just kind of helps the plant stand up. So the guy walks behind him with a little stick, and he's just letting the plant stand up. So they'll do an hour, they'll do like an acre, 2 acres. So after they're done, 2 or 3 days later, they come back and see what plants didn't make it, and they'll replace them with, that's where you keep the trays around a little bit longer. And then they'll replace it with, I don't know, 100, 200 plants that fell, or 20 or 30, and that's it. They're all set. Now they put these things away, they're gonna get washed up and well taken care of. They go to a special cleaning station. But these things are really, really, really good machines, man.
So when you were younger, you saw them putting it all by hand.
Yeah, a lot more efficient, a lot less people.
Yep.
But the main thing is, it doesn't punish the plant. By the way, if you guys are done with those leaves, you can just unwrap the leaves and throw them on the ground. It's biodegradable, so.
A lot of chloroform in there.
They're setting up the lines, yeah.
This was planted yesterday. A couple of things have happened since yesterday. The tobacco was planted. The irrigation drip system, like you see, the pumps over there, the pipes buried under here. These hoses always stick out, and the tubes were laid out, and it's done so that the drop is right where the plant is. So you consume probably 1/300th of the water. My dad started this back in '96. He was one of the first ones to really start doing it. So, and the other thing is what I was just explaining to you guys right now. So they're actually going there, and they want to make sure that the plant's stuck really well, because there's, again, the machine goes by, someone follows it, they make sure they stand it up, but doesn't guarantee that they spend the night well. You know, they come here in the morning to make sure what plant's stuck and didn't stick. If you go, we can walk next to them so you can see what they're doing. It's back-breaking work. Here in Honduras, it's what makes Connecticut so much better, for example, with something like blue mold, is that Connecticut gets frost every year, so it kills the blue mold. Here, the blue mold is always here, and blue mold over the years has developed also an immune system to what we're doing. It really is an amazing, it's an amazing fungus. It's an airborne fungus, disastrous, and that's why Pinareño and Corojo are so hard to grow. And it's really hard communicating that, and so the best thing you can do is just make a really good cigar that people enjoy and they understand the flavor, something like the dark, and like, oh man, that cigar tastes excellent. And say, okay, that's because we're using a leaf that no one else grows. That's why I hate every time that someone would use the Corojo name. And
You know, I travel alone a lot in the U.S. I've been out of the country a couple times, but I've been with other people. So this is the first time kind of traveling solo and meeting other people here. So when I got to the airport, it was kind of like, you know, I know Gary already, so I'm like, where's Gary? I need to find Gary. And it's, you know, as soon as you get here and you kind of get the hang of it, it's not so scary. But it was, you know, the drive was really long and it was tough because we're all squished together in the back seat. But at the same time, you know, I'm looking out the window the whole time because it's just a beautiful country.
spacing. Did you guys notice that the soil was real flat? Do you remember? I mean, you can go see it on the way back. But anyway, the soil is pretty flat. What happens that a couple of days after, they come with the tools and they start mounting soil over the stem, the stalk of the plant. Because like I said, they absorb a little bit of nutrients from there also. But also, if there's rain, unexpected rain, the water can filter through a lot better there. It doesn't compact the soil. Because when rain is flat, it'll compact the soil. When the soil is compact, they can't get any oxygen. And by doing that also, you're moving the soil. The root itself doesn't go past 6, 8, 10 inches maybe. So the root is not a very strong root, not like you would think of a tree or something else. Tobacco has pretty lazy roots. So by moving the soil around, you let the tobacco get more nutrients and get more oxygen as it starts growing. Tobacco is going to start growing very, very quickly from this point on. So
We did that, it's been years, you know. Dude, one time we were coming back from the airport, where he flies in, and bro, he had the Hummer, I had my Lincoln, and we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden he just turns right off to the dirt road and calls me. He's like, "Hey man, follow me." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here with this shit, bro." I was like, "Bro, this thing's a sedan, not a Hummer." Oh shit. I went idle too.
Sembrar ahora, porque mira el frío. Si hubiera puesto de las otras, pero me hubiera jodido.
land, a lower layer down there, and then we have about 40 acres across the street on the other side. This is the side that he's focusing on now. You know, it's I don't think he has it written anywhere, but you know, over the years, over 60 years, my father's already learned which lots he likes best. And the one thing about my dad in the farm, he doesn't, that's a toy he doesn't loan to anybody. So we're always, because I would love to do experiments and do stuff here. He's like, no. You don't touch it, don't play with it.
Do you sell Corojas at
Dirt with seeds. Oh, ours here, 770 acres.
The farm was so cool. For me, it helps to see where things are grown, how it gets to where it is, how many hands touch the soil, you know. One of the things I asked is like, why is everyone wearing white? And they're like, because it's, if you wear black, it's, you know, it's too hot. And these are the things that I don't think of because I'm not somebody who lives on a farm or works on a farm. So it's just all these little things that they're doing. You know, 45 people on one block, just trying to work the irrigation system out. It's just cool to see stuff that I don't normally get to see.
And that's what it's going to look like on a cigar. You get an idea that you're getting the, so now you know you're getting the color you want. You go through it the whole thing and you'll sort it. So when you're buying, you look for it. Now this is second priming. The best wrappers are usually third and fourth primings. To my taste, my father's taste, second priming. He likes second and third. I like third, fourth, and of course fifth priming. It's flat. The bulk, when you put the bulk up, it'll start pressing down and see how the leaves are already squeezed down. So this thing, in a few days, it'll be all the way down in here. Usually it'll be in bulk about 7-8 days each time. And what tells the difference is how much temperature it has and how much moisture still has left. The tobacco's on the top will go to the bottom. The tobacco's on the outside goes on the inside. That's the simple. There's no real scientific method in how it's done. They just figured.
It's like a ring house.
Right. Now, do you guys blow smoke out your nose when you smoke?
Yep.
You blow smoke out your nose?
I've done it a couple of times. I'm still working on it.
You? Do this. I want you to take a whiff and blow the air out your nose. You see how it lingers? Mm-hmm. That's what you're missing out on. So you're missing about 7 or 8 times the flavor.
Oh yeah.
So in essence, you're not really smoking a cigar if you're not blowing out your nose. And it's tricky to learn. You know, it's something you put your tongue on through your mouth. I've learned the best system I learned is you start blowing like you're whistling on your finger, and then just close your mouth, and then the air goes out your nose automatically. So gotta do this fast. It'll dry out very, very quickly. Cut it. At the edge here where it starts burning, a black line of, don't call it charcoal for lack of a better word. Anybody else want to try one? Only when it comes to color.
Angie's the best. Angie's awesome.
Sorry for the delay, but I hope you guys enjoy yourself. Okay, thank you.
It's cool that we get to experience other cultures' food. That's kind of a big thing for me, especially wherever I go. You know, even if I'm going to Chicago, I want to try a deep dish pizza because it's their thing. So coming here and trying the breakfast from today, the eggs in the tortilla with chorizo, awesome.
I'll put it. And I find notes of Häagen-Dazs chocolate ice cream here.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Are you smoking tobacco or weed? Come on.
Yeah, sometimes some people get very
Creative.
very creative.
Yeah.
Very creative, yeah.
The bread, with like the frosting on top of it, all of it was delicious. And she is a genius. And she comes out and she explains everything perfectly. She's like, I did this because this, and this is classic Honduran, and here's what we're doing here. I love that about anybody's food.
Buenos días! Get like over here. Variedad. All right, so these are Sumatra binders. So really, you're always trying to grow a wrapper. The reason these are binders, notice how the color's not even. And now, see this, all right, let me stretch it out. You see the skid marks right here? Cool. You add moisture. You never add water. Water will stain the tobacco. If you drop water here, when you ferment it, you have a black spot. So you're always very careful about that. That the leaf itself, she's gonna start fermenting from the tip. The tip's always gonna be darker, and then it spreads out. You can see the shape. You can see it from afar a lot better, right? How are those cigars burning?
This one kind of, but it's probably me.
It's a little different.
No, you didn't give it a good light. Give it a good light.
Now, Christian, will any of that ammonia come back out as you're fermenting?
Prime Habano. Obviously different lot, different time. ¿Qué cosecha es esta? ¿Qué año? It's 2023 also? Alright. Because being second priming, it's a lot thinner, so it ferments a lot more quickly. But I like that it has that kind of body. I wouldn't. Don't be a nanny, Paul. Get in here. Only your mouth.
Okay, actually. Well, so the barrel room was in the farm. That was a surprise. That one was difficult.
Wow. I got it. All right. So anyway, right. So you stuff your nose in there. So obviously the ammonia gets trapped inside the leaf. This system's done. What it does, when it rotates, it allows the ammonia to escape the leaf, and that when you pack it, you don't have that ammonia. It depends on your taste. Again, my father doesn't like strong tobacco. You know, I don't mind it. I want that kind of body. I want that kind of strength. So I will probably not do that much. And you know, we have the barrels, which I never really installed them because I started thinking about it. I want my tobacco to have the ammonia.
And what they do in the old time with the hands?
They'll do with your hands. The problem is a lot of. First of all, imagine
Wet it and shit.
that's the work of a week's job. They do it here in 4 hours, and they, how much tobacco was damaged too, and they had to set it down. And so this is a better system. Rotate. So this is the one we sent pictures. I think Jonathan started doing for Drew Estate. So he started doing his advertising campaigns like he invented this thing. And then Nick Perdomo started doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
These things.
Science question: how does rotating like this just remove the ammonia?
Stand over here for a second.
I regret it.
No. See how it opens up right here? This is the magic right here when it rotates. And then there's a small amount of wind as it's rotating. That's right. It's just opening it up. You're airing it out. All right, listen. I'm sure you can accelerate the system. You can probably put a blower in there or an extractor system and do a lot faster. You would have to create a wind current from the bottom, have air come in from the bottom, extract it from the top, and you would suck it out and probably even a lot faster. So this is Habano, fourth priming. Tobacco is ¿qué te lo tengo como viso? Viso. This is viso. All right, so this is filler. Why did it turn filler? Notice the edge is a little burnt. Maybe had a little too much water. You know, it wasn't good enough for binder. Dominicans, this is called frog stripping, where you take the lower third or lower half of the leaf. Dominicans, they strip all the way from here because they want milder cigars. Traditionally, maybe now they cut it down this. I haven't visited many factories, believe it or not, but I've seen in the past that they cut up here. Maybe now they keep a little more of the stem. That's why sometimes from Honduran cigars, you tend to get a little more stems than Dominican cigars. I mean, it doesn't happen every day, but it still does happen. So it's called the frog strip. What they're doing here is, I mean, you can touch them, press it. There's a little moisture on that leaf still.
And so you only crop it that far so that you can keep strength.
Yeah, and just tradition, just about that.
Wow, you're staying with tradition?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm impressed.
No, listen, you know the story about the girl who gets the steak, or the mom who cuts the steak and cuts the edges off, and the daughter says, "Mom, why do you cut the steak that way?" "I don't know, let's ask your grandma, because she taught me to do that." And then ask the grandma, "Grandma, why do you do that?" "Oh, because we couldn't afford a bigger pan, so the steak wouldn't fit." But the mom kept doing it because she thought that's what was supposed to be done the whole time. So anyway, is to get the tobacco in a certain condition, we can now put inside the bale. When it puts inside the bale, tobacco is going to be pressed. Tobacco for Eiroa, regular Eiroa Classic, and the CBT. I aged the tobacco 3-4 years. I'll sit on it in a bale. So the condition has to be good enough, same quality as papers or like a library, like books. Even if, tobacco has the same properties as paper. If a book is too moist, the leaves are going to stick together. It's going to be junk. If it's too dry, they're going to crumble, right? Same thing with tobacco. You can't be too crispy because you'll break it. Because once the tobacco is in the bale, time stops. And it does lose every year. It'll lose X amount, 1, 2, 3% of the body. On the dark, I'm not doing that. On dark, I'm gonna get the tobacco a lot fresher from bulk because I want that body on purpose. Especially on the Eiroa First 20 cigars, those I really do keep the tobacco very long time.
Nice job.
Paper. Now all of a sudden they start stacking the leaves on top of each other. You see it there? So now they're gonna clamp that together, and then they start sewing it. And the tobacco is going to sit there now for as long as it's. You can have tobacco bales for 200 or 300 years. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's not going to taste very much. It's going to lose some flavor.
Right.
It's amazing, right? This is these are the cuarto corte. Habana. Right, this is fourth priming also. Pretty much the same one we saw whether they were drying out. Ah, ¿este es el mismo que está sacando?
el mismo que estamos
Okay.
allá.
You want to go around the side?
Huh?
Yeah, over there, the box factory. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So cigars have to match. Another thing that I love about the way these pills work, I mean, just in general, everybody does it. Notice how even all the bands are.
Oh yeah.
Even when do the tissue wrap also, how even all that stuff is. That stuff never stops to impress me. So we talked about it yesterday a little bit, right? So when I moved down here was when NAFTA was going on, and everything that everybody kept talking about was total quality management, calidad total in Spanish. And we spent a lot of time understanding and teaching all of our staff that these girls are the last ones to see the cigars before they head to your stores. Just like the guy who rolled the cigar, he's the one that knows whether he rolled it right. The guy that bunched the cigar, he's the most important job because they had a draw. That guy who makes the box, that's the most important job because he has to make sure, and the guy who inspects. So every job is incredibly important, right? Everybody has the most important job in the whole chain. But these girls, of course, have a tremendous amount of responsibility because until you open up those cigars in your store, you don't know what's coming. But now you have to be at the point where you trust the people you're doing business with. Those cigars are going to show up all right and exactly the way they should be and consistent. Part of the experience for your customer, same thing, Rolex doesn't sell their watches in a plastic bag, has a nice package, everything, the packaging has to match the whole experience. One of the reasons I started doing the tissue wrap on the cigars was because I really absolutely detest cellophane. I think cellophane is the worst thing you could do. Imagine having some whiskey and straight from the barrel, you immediately put it inside a bottle. It never breathed and never developed into anything. Cigars have been manipulated ever since they were being made. They were put in the escaparate rooms, all things, so they lost the flavor of tobacco because the human hands polluted that flavor. So we put the cigars back inside the cigar box with each other. They marry each other, they pick up each other's smell. It does a lot better. With Eiroa, we go a few steps further. Eiroa, I make sure that the cedar becomes a part of the flavor also. If you ever take off, when you smoke an Eiroa tonight, or whenever you smoke it, take the tissue off that cigar and smell the tissue. It smells like cedar and it smells like that. That's why I would love we have that caption, buy it by the box kid. I don't know, it's posted. That smell is lost. Obviously, when you put cigars inside the store and you open up that lid, it's gone. Buenas tardes! One of the few remaining OCD issues that I have. Huh?
I always thought it was because you were smoking too fast, and that's why you did that.
No, you want it to be like that. That's a good sign. Now, there's something called booking, where you look at the cigar from the foot, it looks like a perfect, like a U, like that, right? That means that they booked it. So sometimes when you get that tip, it'll be almost like my finger, well, the tip will be off to the side. And that's just poor workmanship. Some factories do that because the bunchers, the pair, can do 500 and 600 cigars a day. A lot faster. Ours do 250, maybe 300. They do half that much, but we want them to do quality.
But in the factory, I mean, watching the rollers. First of all, the chairs are uncomfortable, and they're day in and day out sitting there, rolling and stuffing and rolling and stuffing, and it's calm. It's almost like I cook. I think I mentioned this to you. I like to cut. I like to cut my meats, my vegetables, all that. It's soothing to me to do that, and I feel like for them it's the same way. It's just this craft, this monotonous work that they just get to do day in and day out.
Peel it open right there in the middle.
Yeah,
Stick your nose right in
I
there.
have some friends that will
Ooh, it's
Stick it
chocolatey.
right in there.
Okay. Never been able to do this before. Like, smell each leaf.
There's going to be witch on it, but I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it's whatever you pick. Obviously, you go heavy on Lejero, heavy on Mexican, or the Habano. I mean, obviously, yeah, we have some Mexican ones. Cameroon.
Perdón, Camerún, ¿qué digo? Pista, ¿no? Camerún. No, but it's too much.
No. Did mine last time.
Yeah, right down against the
I should go
little spot right down there where that gap is.
Oh, me?
I'm actually worried about yours.
No, I mean,
Something there for you too, Gary P.
I wear this every day.
Oh my God.
Good, I'm gonna wear these into the store every day. I can just clean it every day.
there you go. Yeah, that's your new uniform.
Oh, beautiful.
Don't put that on camera.
Wow.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they just recycle whatever box we had there.
The boxes are your guys' blends.
Oh, these are?
Yeah.
I just started this once, and I feel like, I mean, first of all, this is the exclusivo, so it's awesome. Aside from this, the 25th anniversary CLE, loved it. Just surprising.